Hi, this is Travis.
And this is Jonathan.
And we'd like to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
This is the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And I need to hear it today.
We are so glad that you're here. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I mean, I'm fine. Life takes so many strange and unexpected turns, and they're not always pleasant ones.
Oh, you're talking about
on
our
the
life,
drive-through,
right.
Our life, right? But no, I'm fine.
Well, we should. I don't want to ruin people's. I know we've been talking the last 4 episodes before this. We've been really letting people in on our lives, and I think maybe this one we just clam up and we just play the song. We don't talk. We don't tell anybody anything about the treasure maps or the house that we're renovating. That's the old sailor's latrine.
I'm kind of over all of it now after.
So I don't see any reason why we
through.
would bring,
yeah,
unless you think it would make you feel better, because I can tell.
No, it wouldn't necessarily make me feel better. I don't know if that's.
I think we should just not talk about it at all.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's all right, if that's your way to deal with the problem, then some people could say that that's kind of suppressing it, like when you play like it's not there and you don't deal with it, then you just hold that.
Really? I've never heard that. So some people say that you should. I know that people like to find out about the people they listen to on podcasts' lives, because I assumed it just made them feel better about theirs. So I understand why you would talk. It's a selling point. You're selling yourself on a podcast. So I get that. I didn't understand the part about what you say. It helps you when you talk. I thought you were supposed to hold everything in.
No. Some things, sure, you don't want anybody to know about. But,
I have a lot of private.
Everybody does, but
a lot of private.
Sure, but if something is really, if you yourself are not dealing with something and you just lock it away in that little space inside of you, and it stays.
I know that space.
Well, that space can, if you keep putting stuff in there and putting stuff in there, there's not enough room for it, and the door gets knocked down, and all of that. Let's just say nasty stuff, even though some of it may just be shame or guilt. All of that comes out in ways that we can't predict or anticipate, and it's usually unpleasant for everyone.
So I should talk so that I don't make people feel more uncomfortable later in an uncontrollable way. I should parcel out little pieces
here and there,
shame.
Enough to just help you deal with it. Yes,
for me,
for you. Yes, that's
all right
for you.
Okay, well, for you, I'll do it.
Well,
for me,
it should be for
me.
Yes, it should be for you. Yes,
I guess that what happened was I feel kind of weird about the house that we were going to move into, and I guess it looks like that's not going to happen.
Well, we
now.
don't know for sure. That's not 100%. You and I have a lot to figure out.
I'm a little disappointed.
Well, I am too.
In that,
I am.
And all the money we put into the old sailor's latrine, and the time and effort, and the renovation.
Sure.
That we were working on, and it just seemed to really be about to pay off. And our friendship with Professor Ricotta Manchatter, who was helping us find we found a treasure map, and I guess I'm a little disappointed that didn't really.
Well, we found several treasure maps.
We found 2,500 treasure. We found one original.
It was 2,300, including the original one.
Well, what they had in that other box from Kinko's was another 200 that they were going to spring on us.
That's true. They were going to, but they didn't. They didn't have time to do that.
What we found out was that our supposed friend, Professor Manchatter,
it really let us down. It really did.
Who was supposed to be enemies with the other professor
who said that this
was never an old sailor's latrine. It was actually a stacking store from the 70s. But when he said that made like the old Admiral, who created Admiral's Bubbles Soda in the 50s and had won several big naval battles.
And it turns out
it made him say, okay, well, these guys can have it because it's not important. So in a way, that was good when people thought
at the time it seemed
was a
like
fraud.
he was even though I didn't believe him, what he said helped us in obtaining
And then the Professor Manchetter coming, that helped us. And the Admiral saying, well, these clowns can do whatever they want with this fraud site. That helped us.
We thought. It felt helpful at the time. But it turns out that, because, Professor Ricotta Manchetter, his arch enemy, we thought, was that other professor that, they could not stand one another. They didn't want to have, and obviously we thought the Admiral didn't like the other professor as well, because he, kind of ruined his chances to make this an historic monument or whatever it may have been. All of these guys are they're all in it together, and it just like pulling the wool out from under you, and all of this, it really kind of makes you feel used, spent, and stupid.
It's not a conspiracy if everybody's really out to get you.
No. I mean, first we're like, there's no way. Turns out the Admiral is the father of these two professors, supposed professors, because now I don't know what to believe from anybody after this.
Is he even an Admiral? And then our friend, the porter, the bus boy from the train station, who told people who were getting off the bus where the train station was, who would give us a ride, because he was also an Uber driver and was also a bus boy at Porter's Lighthouse, 45 minutes walk from here. There's seafood sandwich, still very great with the sauce. So I don't want to bring them into it any more than the fact that that guy that we thought was our friend also was not, who told us about robbing people. Well, we should have listened more to that part, because he did rob people, because he robbed us, and he's also their brother. The Admiral has 3 treacherous sons, and 2 of them are professors, possibly fake, and one of them is a robber and an Uber driver and a busboy and a porter and a busboy.
And they were all in on this together to just make fools of
Apparently,
Jonathan and I.
The Admiral, back during the 50s, they ran some promotion. It was like win either a can opener, because to open the bubble, so you had to have the can.
Right.
Or, $10 worth of rubies, which in today's prices for rubies is like $250 worth of rubies.
At the time, that's how the currency has changed.
Well,
since then.
Hid that in the old store and stack back in the 70s when he was going through a divorce, because he didn't want to share it with his sons. Well, now his sons are the only people he has left, and of course, they knew exactly where it was. They were just trying to throw us off the scent, because the busboy also works at Kinko's.
Just made up map after map
so
after
many
map.
Maps.
Yeah, and it was just all a fool's errand.
We were sleeping in our car, and we're like, there's somebody getting away on a motorboat.
And I've been trying to put together how they planned this out, because and it's going to take me a while, really, to process this, and that's the reason I'm glad that we've decided to discuss it on here, because there's so much to work out. So the Admiral did not want us to have this place, and then his son posed, or is a professor, made it so that we could, they didn't want us to have it because the ruby's here, but then I guess they decided, well, hell, let's let him have it and let them do most of the work.
And then when we weren't working fast enough, that's when Professor Ricotta Manchetter
came over.
But also they didn't want us to think that there actually was a treasure, so they made so many maps to confuse us. It was a lot about us being confused and trying to dupe us, and then us not working out as dupes to their satisfaction. I mean, that's all I can figure out. Well, I don't know. All I know is I watched them sail away.
They did not plan on us showing up that night, and we saw all of them together. And I'm like, wait,
They gave us, last week we were feeling so victorious, and they gave us that gift certificate to the Porter's Lighthouse. For the seafood sandwich, which is so good.
You had to go that night, or it was invalid.
It's easy to make up a fake gift certificate if you work at Kinko's.
Yep, another thing.
And there were so many rules and see, that's something I don't figure out. Why were there so many rules on the back? It was like, well, you have to go tonight. Sure, I get that because they wanted us out. And it was only for $10 because they're cheap. But then there was also void in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Why would they? I guess to make it look real, but it was so much on there. And we had to, because Travis is always, I don't want to show up there. And I got and be in trouble for not following
all the rules before.
So we had to sit there and read them, and they were that. Oh, well, that makes sense because they were like, "You don't have to read it all, guys." Professor Manchetter, and that's also why he was so. It doesn't really explain how he knew so many limericks.
I want to make a point though, real quick, if you don't mind, and this is to the people who run Kinko's. You have to screen. You really have to do a deep dive in the people because the damage that they can do with all the tools that you give them to make fake maps and fake coupons, somebody can do a lot of damage to the world, can hurt a lot of people. Well, Jonathan and I, and you really need to do a deep dive background check on your employee. You don't understand the kind of power that you're giving to someone to wield against.
Look, I know you work at Kinko's and you're waiting to hear the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat. And you probably think, well, I want to hear this song. And also you're thinking, I work at Kinko's. I don't have to screen anybody. Not true.
No, you need to. And I would never tell anybody to not listen to 100 Ways to Love a Cat. But if you, hopefully you can, do some double duty, do some double tasking here. While you're listening to this song, 35 minutes, I'm going to give you that 35 minutes to just really look into someone's application and make sure you know what you're dealing with before you give someone a job. That's your responsibility. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out there.
No, that makes sense.
Well, take the 35 minutes when we're playing this song and seriously, just really, really look at it. Don't like, oh, he'll do.
I don't know what else to say. I guess I felt stupid when we showed back up.
They did not expect us. They had found the rubies by then.
Well, they thought that if we got to the lighthouse and they rejected our coupon, that we would still probably. But we just didn't have the money.
No.
And so we just had to walk back, and that was really embarrassing too, because they thought we were trying to scam them, and now we're barred from the.
No, yeah, they think that we're the ones off in Kinko's making.
And I was so hungry.
Coupons. We don't work at Kinko's. We don't.
I don't want to now.
No, and neither do I, because the type of people I might be working with. No, thank you. No, thank you.
So we get back and we see them sailing away on we're like, that's the Admiral, and that's the other professor, and that's the busboy, the port of the busboy.
They were all enemies, we thought, or at least a couple of them anyway, and now they're all together.
Professor Ricotta Manchetter, and they're all laughing and cackling like, we got the treasure, we got the treasure. Right.
And we wanted to go after him, but he had laid down that powder, and we couldn't cross that, or the sea coyotes would have gone through us.
Played us like a violin. And then, as they were about halfway across, they all leapt off the boat, as if to their doom, as if lured there by the pretty ghosts of the water.
And
we've heard so much about, so many pirate legends.
We thought those were true, and we thought, well, that's what should happen to them. That's what they deserve.
That's what happened.
Yes,
but we did.
We thought that now there is moral. There's
just to drown down there in their guilt.
There is justice in the world.
The water world. Old pirate Blue Macalachi just pecking at their skin with his finger hooks. But then we saw them just swim to shore, so we don't know.
Well, then
we don't know if they were lured by the fabled sirens.
Yeah, I don't know. Something
water
may have happened to the boat, but I ran into the Admiral. You were there too. We were at Rite Aid, and he was.
That's weird
the pharmacy
now. So
line.
I don't know what we're supposed to do. It's just awkward.
I just didn't want to make eye contact with him. That was it.
I don't know what we're supposed to do in this situation. People say, "Well, you could do this or you could do that." I'm like, I don't think any of those. I don't
think any of it works.
I just don't know what to do. I mean, somebody got $250 of. Well, I guess technically that was his. I guess those were his rubies. Now that I think about it, if he hid them there, why didn't he just ask them for it? I guess maybe if we buy a latrine, you get the treasure that's in it. I don't know. There's so many.
It's not even worth for me to look into, because if we try to contact someone and say a professor comes over to help us with this, I'm not going to trust them. or a lawyer or whatever. Here, those rubies are yours because of such and such. Like, you know what? It's not even worth it.
I don't trust anybody anymore.
I don't either. I really don't either.
I don't trust anybody anymore. I guess if I was going to say one thing that's deeply personal and private about this, it's that I just don't trust anybody anymore.
Well, I do trust that I feel good when I hear 100 Ways to Love a Cat, all 35 minutes of the song. And that's what I want to do now, is play that. And I hope if anyone out there, if you were ever just fooled and hoodwinked in the way that we were, hopefully the song makes you feel better too.
There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 1, keep a tidy house for them, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 2, be sure to clip their claws, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 3, scoop their box daily, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 4, brush them with a hairbrush, 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 5, don't squeeze their paws hard, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 6, give them some fresh water, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 7, let them have a fish, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 8, buy them a scratching post, 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 9, put them in your lap, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 10, be quiet when they're sleeping, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 11, whisper, I love you, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 12, rub their soft belly, 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 13, make sure their tail is clean, 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat, 100 loving ways. Way 14, give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15, make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16, buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17, play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18, get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19, make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20, take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21, brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22, let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23, don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24, feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25, make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26, put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27, give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28, don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways.
I may not feel, after listening to this song and focusing and paying attention and trying to step away from anger, I may not feel as if I trust people anymore, but after listening to that song, I think I could tolerate them. Not the people that we mentioned, but in the future, like somebody I don't know, I think I could tolerate,
Going through this again?
No, not this. And definitely not the Admiral or Professor Manchetter.
If they apologize, I guess.
I don't think that's... is it a real apology? How would you know?
That's true.
They gave us nothing but lies. They gave us nothing but... no, if I see one of them at the Rite Aid in the pharmacy line next week, I'm just going to go on about my business and get my medication.
Just pretend like they're not even there.
That's what I'm going to do. Tolerate.
I guess that's the best revenge we could have right now. I mean, they're lucky they didn't get sucked into a whirlpool, and we're lucky that we still have, mostly a hole that's possibly a historic latrine.
I think right now we would benefit more from it being considered historic, because maybe the city could buy it back from us or something. I don't know. Maybe
water's coming up.
We should open that up again. I don't know. Look into that. Yeah, the water's coming up.
The water's coming up where we dug, so I don't know that any of it's really going to be there much longer.
Well,
I think it's more.
I'm just saying, if we could get reimbursed, like we were wrong. It is an historical monument, should be preserved. On and on and on. Give us, do we get paid back for that? I don't know how that works.
I'm pretty sure we're going to go back there one night, and it's just going to be, the water's going to fill up the hole and washed away the sand, and it's just going to be the outside walls and the anti-sea coyote dust.
Well, even if that is the case,
the birds are going to be perched on the remains. I think that's probably all that's going to be there.
We'll still be here either way.
In my car, because it won't start. Unless it gets sucked into.
Well, mine can run a little ways.
I told you I was going to pay you half the gas.
Maybe I can.
I'll give you half for the gas.
I can tow it. I don't know. But even if all that happens, the old sailor's latrine may no longer be there. Our cars may no longer be there. But Jonathan and I will be here. And when we're here, we'll be making sure that you hear the entire 35 minutes of 100 Ways to Love a Cat every week. And we hope that you come back next week and join us. And really, next time you go to Kinko's, just keep your eyes open is all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go to Kinko's anymore. I'm not going to get
one eye open.
I'm not going to get copies of anything ever again because of this.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm really down on professors and colleges and admirals.
I'm through.
I'm through with so much. I don't care about history, because how do you know it's real?
I don't know.
The water. The only thing that's real is the water, and its march towards claiming us and dragging us down to its depths.
See you next week.
Bye.